Welcome to Live Free. I'm Angela K. Austin. Together, we'll discuss books, we'll explore the world, and we'll do it with some of my closest friends. And hopefully, we'll make new ones along the way.
Hey everybody, it's Angela K. Austin, and today I'm here with my friend Dahlia Rose. Hey Dahlia.
Hey everybody.
All right, so you guys know that this YouTube channel, this podcast is all about how self-pub authors kind of get their start. It's all about introducing you to new people. And I wanted to introduce you guys to Dahlia and her backlog of books, or backlist of books, not backlog, but her backlist of books. So we want to make sure that we talk a little bit about not just Royals, the trilogy. We want to make sure that we talk about Ophelia's Embrace. But honestly, when it comes to Dahlia, Dahlia is one of the many people who is a part of my tribe. So she and I, we do all kinds of things like writing, and whatever else together. So she is definitely somebody who is supporting me along my journey, and I wanted to take a moment to reach back and make sure that I am putting her out there so all of you guys can see my lovely friend and learn about all the work that she has. And I definitely want to talk about her transition and what she's doing with Hallmark as well. So I hope that you guys find this conversation interesting. All right, Dahlia, so tell everybody who Dahlia Rose is, what you write, and then we're going to talk a little bit about why you write what you write.
Okay. Well, I'm Dahlia Rose, and I write, I'm a multi-genre author, which means that basically I don't focus on one main topic when it comes to romance. I write military, I write paranormal, contemporary, history, historical. Wherever my mind takes me, I generally go that way and I write because I'm overly creative and there's always some new path that I think my writing can take on. And I love research. And for some reason, when I'm researching, then it just morphs into a book for me. So over 15 years, I've got a few dozen books out there. I think it's probably like 7 dozen now, maybe a little more. And my career spanned from 2005 to now. So I've basically run the gauntlet of publishers and self-publishing and, marketing and building a reader base. I still hope people know my name. And I just keep it going. This is my main career. I don't have, my 9 to 5 is writing. So this is what I do. I sit, I write, and I try to get my work out to the readers.
I write across genres as well. And I started this in 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. And my first book back then was Love's Chance. And, ever since then, which was kind of like a contemporary romance, but,
yeah,
like your head, your brain starts working and you're like, what else can I write about? And especially if you've written 1 or 2 books in a certain genre and you want to kick it up, change it up so that, what you're putting out there doesn't get stale or boring. Yeah. So I've done that historical fiction and stuff as well. So, what's the main difference for you when you write something that is, military, because you're writing it and looking at your shirt, me and my Sarge. Yep. When you write, talk a little bit about what it's like to write across those genres.
I think for me, writing across the genres is more of it's an emotional aspect to me because I just don't write the story. I kind of live it while I'm writing it. So I've had readers tell me that I put a lot of emotion into my stories, and I'm like, well, it's like I feel it. I feel it when I'm writing it. I feel the characters. I think it's the empathic nature in me. An example of military would be like, because I've lived this life with my husband for 15 years, so he and his friends and everything that I've seen go on in the VA and the different departments and deployments and coming home and injuries and PTSD. I've lived that. So I think I can relate better when I write that for readers. I just don't have to research it. I live it. And then I think that basically everything that I write, I'm an adventurer by heart. I'm scared of airplanes, but I love to travel. I love experiencing new things. I like going into old cathedrals or old graveyards. New Orleans, I think I spent more time in the graveyards than, on Bourbon Street. And I buy tons of research books, and I just keep going towards these aspects of trying to make it as real as possible, because when it's real for me, it's real for my readers.
And it's so funny because we always talk about how plots can be like action driven, character driven, emotion driven. I think like for myself, because I do kind of like you jump genres, but I do kind of have that wheelhouse of women's fiction, sliding down to that kind of contemporary romance.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of emotion in my stories because I want people to hate characters.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to love characters. I want them to have hope for characters.
Exactly.
And
you want them to feel it.
Exactly. You want them to be in that right emotional place. So as you take them through the journey, you're like, yeah, you're right there with me. And it's like, I have a lot of military family too. And so that was one of the things I love that you kind of put all that into your book, because, I have a book out there. I got into this homeless women's veteran kind of like moment or mode for a while. And so I had a woman who, lost a husband, due to war. I had one who herself was a vet who was homeless. And so, I like folding that into the story. So, it's like a little bit of a slice of reality, but you get to shape it so it kind of has that ending, that ending that you would hope for a real that people pay attention.
You want to give them that happy ending.
Exactly.
Even if they don't have it in real life, they have it in the book.
Yeah.
One of the books it's in edits right now is called the Percy Meadows series. Basically, it's Percy. The first book is going to be Percy Rules the World, and it's basically an offplay of friends of mine who are living in the city right now, and they're in their 40s, and they're trying to date. They're trying to navigate this whole new world of being single and dating, and all the perceptions that men and women have for them. Like, you're 40 years old, why don't you have a child? You're 40 years old, why aren't you more successful in this bank account? You're 40 years old, you want to be married, and you want to have, your eggs are drying up, you need me to make you whole. And so it started out as me dealing with one woman. And I'm like, no, this is not a one woman thing, because this is an every woman thing. If you're at that age and you're trying to date and navigate, Twitter and social media and all of these different ways that you can be catfished and everything. And she decided to take her own life and her sexuality in her own hands. So that's why I call it Percy Rules the World. And yes, she falls in love at the end, and then it passes on. She passes on this whole motif that she's doing to every person that she knows. And then a new girl would take up a gauntlet. And then in one of the books that I have plotted out, the guy is going to actually have to take up the gauntlet, because it's really not easy for guys 40 plus either to be dating. I'm like, I hear the stories from my friends, and I'm like, oh my God, thank God I'm married, because I couldn't do this again. I could not.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I remember going to a doctor's appointment, because I am over 40. I know you guys can't tell, but
Yeah, you gotta keep on going. Yep.
By that much. But I remember her telling me, like, hey, Angela, if you want to have children, you might want to think about freezing your eggs. And I was like, it became so real to me in that moment. I was like, wow, okay. This is where my life is,
Yep. Your biological, everyone seems to think that your biological clock is ticking, and
exactly, yeah.
And that you're just waiting for that. Maybe you just want to live. Maybe you just want to explore. And if a child is supposed to be there, it'll be there. And I have 5 kids, and trust me, I love my babies, but I'm very glad that they're at an age where I can just get up and go, and I know they'll be fine, because it's hard work.
And it's a blessing. It's a blessing, because I tell people all the time, it's like, I'm one of those people. I mean, I write love stories. So, think about things like Thanksgiving, holidays, and Christmas, and,
Exactly.
things and you're like, oh, wait, so I like to write it into a story for my characters. I'm like, okay, well, hey, but I think that family and
Yeah,
love come in different packages for different
it does.
people.
It does. I
It's
mean,
not going to look the same way for everybody. So I
no, it's
love
not.
that you're doing that, and I love that you are, I don't know, writing across genres, because obviously I love that because I do it myself. And I love
Hmm.
that you're showing it from so many different points of view. But I have to ask, what's your favorite story to tell? Military, fantasy, like what's your favorite story to tell?
I think my favorite story is always going to be military because I've lived that for so long and I've met so many great people, male and female, along the way that really gives this like it's not every time you see TV or something, especially when there was deployments and everything, it always seemed to be in 2D and they've never show you the back end of it. And meeting these people, living with my husband, meeting his friends, meeting everyone really shows that it's really what people the news never gives you the full story of these people's lives. And I like the fact that I can give them that aspect and I can give them children. I can give them happy endings. I can just show that they're whole people and they're not just these trained bots that the government sends out to go seek and destroy. And to tell you the truth, my book that I'm writing with Hallmark now is my hero is military and he's an amputee. And they let me run with it, and I'm really happy that they did.
I love that. I recently interviewed Pepper Pace, and
Hmm.
one of the things that I said to Pepper was that she was one of the first authors I read who had truly imperfectly perfect people,
Hmm. Yeah,
because she delved into that world of the physical imperfections. And so
yep,
often when we do our stories, because a lot of people love the fantasy and the
hmm,
romance. So there's not a lot of room for people who aren't traditionally beautiful, which is actually one of the reasons that, I even write as a self-published author, because a lot of people don't necessarily gravitate toward a romance that's got an African American woman as the central, figure.
exactly.
And I know you and I've had this conversation, and so many of the women that I've interviewed, we all have that same refrain where we say that, you submit to traditional publishers, and unless you already have a strong enough platform,
Exactly. Yep.
it's hard for you to um, have them hear you, because they already
Yep.
have the voices that they listen to. They already have their
Exactly.
Brenda Jacksons, and they already have the people that
Hmm.
they want, and so they don't, open it up for other people.
I think I write diversity, and I don't care. That's why I say I'm more of a multicultural
Yeah.
author. I write interracial primarily, but I write everyone. Like right now, again for Hallmark, this is going to be an African American couple because I mean it's diversity, and we're bringing it to a venue that that really people said, oh, well, there's not enough diversity there. And I'm sorry, but I do love my Hallmark movies and I do like reading their books and I like the sweetness of it. So for them to come and say, hey, give it your shot, I'm going to give it that shot. So them taking that, it's a Christmas holiday book. It's going to be part of the Countdown to Christmas lineup, fingers crossed, hopefully. And being able to set two characters that are African American in a place that you wouldn't expect them to be, which is Alaska, and give them a life there between all because you really don't see a lot of people saying, hey, I'm African American, I live in Alaska, unless you're living on a military base.
Yeah, yeah. I will tell you though, because I have been looking at, trying to explore the world in my own way and travel a lot.
If
I
you say you're going to Alaska, I'm going with you because that's my spot. That's where I'm going.
I applied for traditional jobs in Alaska, and I was like, if one of those suckers calls me back,
I
because I am like, I was all over the place,
yeah,
what, like I'm not a cold weather person. I admit to that. But Alaska looks so beautiful to
and
me.
pristine. And I'm just like, it's Alaska and Norway are the two places that I am going to set up. I want to see the Northern Lights. I watched this show. It's called I watched Deadliest Catch, and it's set in Dutch Harbor, which is supposed to be like a really harsh climate for Alaska. I'm like, oh, I'm going there and see what's going on. I just want. It's not a matter of the. I want to see how people live, and that's one of the reasons I like writing different characters and research, because I like how to see how people live. And if you can take a character that someone does not expect and drop them in some place that you wouldn't think to see them, it's perfect, because now you're writing them out of their element, like fish out of water. You're taking a person out of the city and you're dropping them in Alaska. How are they going to survive? What are they going to do? You know, it's bundles of snow.
I love that you're doing that, and that the character is an African American woman, because
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the things. It's like when you do normally see a romance on television that has people of color, it's usually in an urban environment.
Yeah, exactly.
And, we all know that, in the United States of America, you do tend to have your densest populations of people of color
Yeah,
in urban environments because,
that's how it is. Yeah.
So when you write something like this story that you have and you take them to Alaska, one, it's a holiday story, it's Hallmark. You take her to Alaska, it's a perfect setup for like a beautiful, cool freaking holiday romance. So I love that. I love everything about that. Everything about
Fish out of water romance. And I think that one of the things that I want to get across is that even if, and I lived in New York, I've lived in, places where I've lived on an island, and it's like, as African American women, as Black women, we like to travel too. We like to see stuff. The travel bug doesn't just bite one set of people. I mean, I'd be all over this world if I could afford it. And
if I could afford to travel, you guys would have to get like a sat phone to keep up with me, because they're like, where is Angela? Being like, we don't know, let's ping her sat phone.
Exactly. Where are you now, Dahlia? I'm in the Galapagos Islands because I watched Master and Commander and I wanted to see it.
Yes, I love that. Can you share the title of the book yet, or is that like still a secret or anything?
I don't know if I can, so I'm not gonna right now. As soon as they give me permission to share anything or more about it, or say, hey, go at it, I definitely will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So tell us, how did this come about? Because as a self-pub author, kind of moving into this traditional house, especially one like Hallmark, because that is like one of the traditional ones. We're in the self-pub world. We have so much freedom. We can do what we want. Romance and love is how we define it.
Exactly.
So when you come from something that's so loose and you can do whatever you choose, what is it like to go into this realm with Hallmark and you have to follow a set of rules that are very, very specific? What was that transition like? And tell us, how did the whole Hallmark partnership come about?
Well, the partnership came about because, and this is a shout out to Naima Simone, and she writes as well. She's an author. Everyone should know Naima and her books. But we sprint write daily. Like, my day consists of sprint writing between the hours of like 9 or till about 6 in the afternoon, maybe 4, depending on if I have my grandson. And she was like, hey, I heard Hallmark's looking for, some, diverse authors. You'd be perfect for this. And of course, I'm set in my ways, 15 years in. I'm like, oh, no, they're not going to like anything that I write, anything. She's like, shut up, send in a proposal because you write amazing Christmas books. And I'm like, okay. So I draft this whole proposal and everything. And then we go through it and I send it in, and it's this nail biting. And I'm here thinking that I am not going to hear back from these people for months. And I hear back from the acquisition editor within a week. And she says, I like your voice. There's some things we'd like you to change, and then I'd like to pitch this. And I'm thinking, holy crap, are you kidding? So I'm like, okay, I can change it, because while I am self-published, I'm very versatile. I always say that I'm one of those very versatile people that you drop me in any situation, I'm going to evolve and morph into what I need to do to be that, you know. I make the changes and I send it back to her. And of course, COVID happened, and some of the meetings that she was supposed to have were delayed and everything. And then she emailed one day and she said, "Hey, can we have a talk? Can I call you?" That's when your heart starts racing. Because I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And she talked and she says, "We want to contract this." And she's like, "This is what we want. And I'm sending you back some notes on what we want specifically. Here are the guidelines set for Hallmark. Can you follow this?" And I'm like, heck yeah. Hallmark writes really sweet romance.
Yeah.
And I am loving that aspect of it because right now I'm building tension of people falling in love. Will they, won't they? You know, will she, won't he, you know, and I'm building that, and it's in this sweet way, and they are really set on family and community and home, and building this character and this world and the people that are in it now. It's like I'm living there. So every day I get up and I'm excited to write this because I'm living this book with them.
You know, I love that because even though we're in the world of self-publishing, the world of indie publishing, what sparked our love for romance were things like
Yep.
Hallmark. You know,
Exactly.
it's like we write in the space of indie publishing because we didn't see ourselves in the
Hmm.
stories that were being told.
Exactly.
You know? And so for you to kind of go like almost full circle as I'm looking at it from the outside, you go from watching something like a Hallmark to writing for Hallmark. To me, that's like giving you the opportunity to allow people to see just a slice of our lives, you know?
I know. I get it.
I think it's beautiful. I mean, I personally think it's amazing. And I remember when that call for Hallmark came out, people were talking about it, and some of
Hmm.
my friends, you know, had posted about it and shared it. And I was like, I didn't submit. I was just like, they're not gonna pay attention to me. It's like, you know, and it's like, but that's that difference in
Yep.
someone who does take that chance, you know, and someone who doesn't take that chance. Because if you don't take that chance,
You'll
you
never know.
know, you know. So I'm so proud of you for taking that chance.
And
You know,
I was just like you. I was thinking, oh, they're never going to contact me, or the first thing I get back from them is that they don't like my work, you know. And I was amazed, and I felt very humbled that they did, because 2020, as you know, the way it's going for everyone, and with the virus and the pandemic and everything, has been a full circle year for me too, because I grew up in Barbados reading Mills and Boons, Barbara Cartland, Love Swept, anything that, you know, related back to love and romance, and didn't see myself in it. Moved to America, you know, married, had a romance of my own, wrote it, and then in 2020 was able to go back where I started in Barbados and have a book signing and show people, hey, the 12-year-old girl that was writing these little stories in her notebooks is now doing it for an audience. And people know my name because I do it for an audience. So that was like my first full circle moment in 2020. And then writing for Hallmark with the second. And I'm like, okay, it's not a great year. And so many people have lost so much. And I really feel for everyone. And I'm terrified for myself and for my family. But I've had some good things happen this year too. So I'm looking at the blessings, and I think that no matter what the rest of this year brings, that people are going to survive it. We're a community. We're going to love each other. We're going to take care of each other. We're going to survive it. And we're going to get those blessings are still going to keep coming in tenfold.
yeah. You know, I agree with you. I think that this year has been so weird, you know,
It's been so
because
weird.
it's been so weird. It's almost hard because it's when something good happens, because there's been so much bad, it's
Hmm.
almost a little bit I don't know what the word is, but you feel a little weird celebrating the good things because there's been so much negative. But I think that, or bad, but I think that that's the thing, like you said, those positive things are blessings. And you
Yeah,
have to remember to celebrate them. You have to remember, because those are the things that keep you going. You know, if you
exactly.
only focus on those negative things, then you forget about all these beautiful things that are happening. And
Mhm.
so I'm happy that you are not allowing yourself to not see the beautiful full circle moments, the beautiful things that are happening in your life, because they are truly blessings. And it's fantastic, you know, because like I said, I remember, like, I'm that person who loves Christmas in July. So shout
Yes.
out to Hallmark,
Yes.
in July, you know, I'm like,
Yes.
I don't have cable anymore. And I'm like, that's one of the things that I miss. I'm like, you know, I'm all over my Amazon Prime, like gobbling up everything that I can
Oh
see,
yeah.
you know, buying every daggone $1.99 friggin' Christmas movie I can find because I love those. But what
Yeah.
this last Christmas, where again, you know, starting to see those changes in that diversity, but you still
Yep.
see the same people. Like you'll see Tatiana Ali in a
Yep.
holiday movie. You'll see, I can't think of the young girl's name, but you'll see her, and it's like back and forth. It's the same
Mhm.
2 or 3 actresses that you'll see, and you'll see
Mhm.
them over and over and over again. So just as we're trying to write the voices of diversity, showing the robust, you know, just world of love that can include a person of color, you
Yep.
know, showing that transition or showing those books be brought to life. That's why I'm so happy, you know, when you announced this, I was just like, oh, I'm so, you know, because it's just, this is the type of thing that a little girl like me, when I sat in front of the television,
Yeah.
you know, and
Exactly.
with romance stories, that's, you know, I wanted to know that somebody like you was telling the story, and that it wasn't just someone who didn't understand the voice, didn't understand, you know, the
Mhm.
people, was just throwing something out there to see what would stick. You
Exactly.
know, it was an authentic voice telling the story. So kudos to Hallmark. You know, next time I won't ignore it.
Exactly. You better not. I think that, I mean, I think that there's a lot of stigma in the movies and in books too about how especially Black women live, and especially in an urban setting. And I mean, our families, our structure, and stuff like that. Is people that will say, hey, you know, there's no such thing as like maybe Cosby families. And you're like, yeah, I was raised in one. You know, my mom and dad have been married for 40 something years. I grew up seeing love in all colors because in the islands, I mean, I've got a lot of like blended families. I've got uncles who are white and aunts that are Indian, and some, it's just a lot of culture. And I think that's one of the main things that I like writing too, is that I like writing culture because in this book, it's just not just dropping them into Alaska. I really delved into the research, the culture, the indigenous people that live there, the sites, the glaciers, the lakes that are frozen, and just writing this book. And one of my main trips is that I'm going to Alaska. I don't care. I'm going to Alaska because there's so much different aspects of it that is really so rich and eclectic that I just want to see it all.
You know, I'm glad that you mentioned it, because that's something that I spoke with Twyla Turner about, was multiculturalism in romance, you know,
Mm-hmm.
versus, you know, kind of some of these other things where, um, like often I'll read reviews and people be like, oh, I hate when authors do an IR romance and they talk about race or they talk about this or that. But I'm like, depending on the story, it's probably a part of the story, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're talking about people who have different religions. Like I wrote a story that
Yep.
had an African American woman and a white American man, but the white American man was Jewish
Mm-hmm.
and the Black woman was not, you know. And so that was part of the story. Could they be in a healthy,
Blend. Yeah.
loving
Mm-hmm.
blend? Yeah. And then it's like you know, I wrote a story that was set in Pennsylvania. Now when I lived in Pennsylvania, in the part of Pennsylvania where I lived, there was an event that they did every year. It was a purple ribbon event, you know, and that whole event was to combat the racism that was in the part of Pennsylvania where I lived.
Oh.
You know, and I just never forgot one of the reviews where, you know, the person was just like, well, I hate blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I lived it, boo. I would leave from work, get in my car, and would be redirected into a different direction because there were so many Klan rallies, you know? Or I would go to a restaurant and there would be purple ribbons outside of the restaurant or purple ribbons on the car because those guys were all, the whole campaign was like the purple ribbon was to represent a safe space for people of color.
Yep.
It was to, so whenever there was a Klan rally or anything like that, they would put up purple ribbons throughout the whole community to let people know that they were not sympathizers with the Klan. And so when I wrote that story, it was very much a part of everything that I was feeling and thinking because, you know, I had lived it. I had experienced it. So, you know, so I love being able to infuse stories with
reality. Yep.
With reality, because people may not agree, they may not like it, but it's a part of reality depending on what story you were telling, you know. Yep. If it's not a part of the story, it doesn't matter, you know. But even, was it old school Star Trek when they had the people that were half black and half white?
Yep, exactly.
You had the other people who were half white and half black. And so they hated each other based on which side of their face was black or white.
Exactly.
Like, you know.
The first IR kiss happened on Star Trek, you know?
Star Trek, yes. So I'm like, come on. So
I think I grew up with a sense of naivety about racism since I grew up in an island and we really didn't see this. Everyone was so friendly. Tourists come in. We're all on the beach. We're all hanging out. Everybody just dance. I mean, I'm going to give you an example of it is that when we went to Barbados in February, this is the first time that I took Sarge with me, my husband, and we got off the plane. And from the time we got off the plane, you get off the plane, you go down the stairs because they don't have the walkway. So you have to walk down the stairs and walk into the terminal. And everybody's so friendly. And he's like, wow. But what really went home to him is when my brothers took us all out to Oyston's. They have this big like festival every Friday night where it's fresh fried fish, it's food, it's music, it's dancing. And all the tourists are there and all of the community are there. We're all eating and we're dancing together. We're talking, we're laughing. We don't know each other, but everybody likes each other. He's like, I didn't grow up this way. I didn't grow up seeing this because I grew up in a small town. You knew that area was where black people went to go get their food and everything. You know, this was my area. And I never used to go over that. It was like the two sides of the track thing. And he's like, here, everyone is talking. Everyone is hanging out. We have, I mean, Caucasian people playing in a band. It was just, everyone was just together. And it really, really struck home to him that what people face in America and what people do in America is not how other places live. That we don't judge people by the color of our skin. We judge people by the, you know, character of their heart. And he was amazed by how friendly everyone was. It wasn't the tourists staying on the resorts and just eating and drinking and on the beach. They were coming out and they were part of the community. For whatever time they were there, they were a part of the community. And he was embraced as such.
Like, meanwhile, I was born and raised in Tennessee.
Meanwhile, in America.
Meanwhile, in a deep red state, you know, I had a completely different experience, so to put it lightly. But you know, and I talk about that in my books, you know, but I think that's what makes the self-publishing world so rich, you know, and that's what I love about the fact that you are transitioning and you'll take some of that richness and that depth into the traditionally published world. Because
exactly. And if you don't know, I want people to come and say, hey, tell me, teach me. And I, in turn, want to be able to say the same thing to you. Let me understand from your point of view. Nothing's going to change unless we start understanding each other. And I didn't really understand racism until I moved to America, and especially to the South. I didn't understand why people would look at me and my husband and our son and think, oh man, this is not right, you know? I didn't understand all of that, but I'm learning. And I'm learning that it's just a big old divide that some way, somehow, people are going to have to figure out how to fix, because if it's not, it's always going to be a country that's going to be divided. And I won't write division in any of my books. I can't. I need people to love each other and to understand, even if they have issues. I need them to be able to come together and talk about these things, because how else are we going to change anything unless we talk about it?
As I talk with the mute button on, you have to be willing to you have to be willing to face the problems.
Yeah.
Because if you have a fear in just facing the problem, you can never fix it. And I tell people all the time, it's like in my books, there's always family, you know, because I love the sense of family always supporting each other, you know, and friends in my books they might as well be your brother, sister, cousin.
Exactly.
You
know how we handle each other.
Yeah, because you know isn't that the purpose of having friends?
Yeah.
They catch you when you fall. They help you stand back up. They're not.
And the ones that are not going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you, hey, you're perfect. You are not perfect. I am that friend. I will not tell anyone that I can't not tell you the truth, because it'll bother me. I have to be completely honest to you, with you, bad or good. You're going to love me again eventually because I'm cute, but but I think that friendship has to be that.
And because you cook, I'm not gonna lose.
And because I cook, you know, I'm gonna bring you some food when I tell you the truth.
We have to talk about, you know, all your cooking projects and stuff as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's the thing that, you know, being able to tell those kinds of stories that I think are real, that but give it to you in palatable bites, right?
Yep.
So you can wrap it in a dragon, you can wrap it in a witch,
exactly.
You can wrap it in Alaska, you know, you can wrap it up in whatever package, but when you finish, it's a story that's been told with authenticity.
Exactly.
Someone who really cares about the way the characters are perceived, you know, so kudos, you know, to not only you for giving it a shot, but to Hallmark for recognizing that this was something that was missing, that they needed to reach out and find diverse authors to be able to tell these rich stories from these.
And they are completely amazing. They respond to you. They give you ideas. You go have to back and forth with them. I mean, even my title, which I haven't revealed yet, we had a back and forth about the title. What would it work?
No, their titles are always so cute. I'm like,
exactly. We found a cute one, and it just even the back and forth about that, it wasn't negative or it wasn't demanding or anything. They really work with you, and I love how even their Facebook groups and their author groups and even their editor groups, they're like, what can we, and they're like that in show New Amsterdam, what can we do for you today?
Yeah.
And they make you feel that. And so everyone keeps asking, how is it working with them so far? And I'm like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
I have no issues with working. I just like how they are. I'm like, right about now, first book, amazing. Is it going to keep that way? Unsure. I'm sure it will, because, you know, you get a sense if stuff isn't going to work. I've had multiple publishers across my career, and I know when something's going to work, and I know when something isn't. And this one feels good. It really feels good.
You know, I'll give you credit, because like I said, I've had 3 publishers, and we shared a publisher for.
Yeah.
So there is that, which is why I'm deeply rooted in the indie world. But, you know, you know, as I continue to grow in my writing and in my knowledge, you know, there's just all kinds of possibilities. So continue to grow. But so congratulations again. But as I just hinted to, let's talk about the food situation a
Ah,
little bit.
the food.
Because you're always posting food, and what's it like? Literally, I post food sometimes, and I'm like, like I was gonna post some quinoa I made the other day, and I'm like,
Man,
I don't know if this is postable. I don't know if this is post worthy, but
it's food. It's post worthy.
it was like when I make quinoa, I like it to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Out as I wanted it to. And I was like, but it's okay.
But could you eat it? That's the point.
It was
Okay, then.
but I was like,
Posted your food.
in this, I need some stuff. There's something missing. But, that's not the same situation with the post that you do. So let's talk a little bit about your cooking and your love of cooking and some of your projects you have coming up with cooking. So, how did you get started in that? Is it just always been a part of you?
Cooking is a Caribbean thing. If you're raised Caribbean, you're raised to cook. You're in the kitchen with your mama from the time you can look over the top of the stove and not burn yourself.
Okay.
Exactly. So I've always been cooking and I've always loved baking. And in 2015, with the writing industry and everything, I felt a little burnt out and I needed something else. And then I said, I'm going back to school and I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to learn how to be a chef. And of course, Sarge was like, okay, because he's like, I've had a multitude of jobs. So this is just one other one. And in 3 years, I earned my degree and became an ACF certified chef. So in there, they teach you diet, nutrition, food, and pairing. And I was able to blend my Caribbean culture with the food that I was learning. So I basically just flew through that and loved every minute of it. Every bread, I do not know how I did not gain a gazillion pounds in 3 years cooking all of that stuff. But I came in second in the American Burger Competition. I worked the PGA Golf Tour one year. I think that was 2018. And I just loved, this was like another whole set of research that I did and got an ACS. Huh?
What is a burger competition? You came in second?
Yes, it was the American Burger Competition. You had to create your signature original burger. And I came up with a Caribbean spice in a little nice burger, and I made my own roulade sauce in a mango sauerkraut. I lost by 0.5 of a point. Yes, just 0.5.
Burger for me, and I will bring you a blue ribbon or something.
The only reason that I lost is because I didn't put my mango sauerkraut in the burger bun and I put it as a side. That's the only reason.
Oh,
they wanted it in the burger.
I love mango. Mango.
Oh yeah, you will love my mango sauerkraut and fresh made. And so I use that for books too, because now I'm the researcher for recipes. Someone needs a recipe, or hey, what's the method for this? I need it to sound authentic for a book. They come to me.
You know what? Because I do that being from the South,
Mm-hmm.
So I put a lot of food in my books.
Food.
And for one of my publishers, I did a free cookbook. So I have this book out there called Sweet Victory, and so we did a companion cookbook with that. And but all the recipes in there were like recipes that my mother had done, recipes that my brother had, because I'm not necessarily the chef. I cook because I like to socialize with my friends. And so if I have friends and stuff over, I will cook because I'm going to be eating with them. So for me, cooking is like fellowshipping. But if it's just me, I don't necessarily have to cook. Whatever is a convenient, it works for me. But when I write the books, and I'm thinking about who that character is, what kind of mother is it, what kind of woman, what kind of man, and then I'll start researching different things. Like my historical fiction books, the food was important to me because my main characters were runaway slaves, and so I wanted to incorporate food in a certain way because it was part of storytelling. So everything from the way the food was stored to their access to it, how much they had,
Yep.
you
Has to be authentic.
and yeah, all of it
I
was.
I like that. And I like putting food. Food is like Sundays for me is my I'll make regular little macaroni and cheese and stuff and everything in the week, meatballs, meatloaf, whatever. Sundays is my day because that's the day I'm not writing. I don't have anything going on, and I'm going to go into the kitchen and I'm going to prepare something amazing. I'm going to have wine or I'm going to have coconut rum. I'm going to have my music on. I'm going to make people who come through my kitchen dance with me as I cook. And then I'm going to make them something amazing. And that's my decompression from the week. And like you, in August, I have a book coming out with a companion cookbook. And going to do a little reveal on that when I get everything together. And these are going to be um, recipes that I've created Caribbean recipes that are infused with American recipes, different things so that my bacon jam, because I love making my bacon jam.
Well, I love all things bacon. So sounds like that's a winner for me.
Yes. Bacon jam is life. You can put that thing on a grilled cheese sandwich and make it artisan in minutes.
So are you going to do some video? So this is me just asking for the people who want to know. Are you going to do some videos, as like a companion when the cookbook comes out so we can like see you in the kitchen making some of this?
We're talking about it. So yeah, there might be some videos. There's going to definitely be a lot of food. I leave on June 20th to go do this with Michelle Prince, who's my photographer extraordinaire. And yeah, she's doing I do all the plating and she does all the good fancy picture taking stuff.
Yeah,
So
you guys doing because is Michelle just using this for a trip? I know.
well, she wants bread. She wants as long as like the bread area is hers. She wants all the bread, and I'm like, okay, you can have the bread.
Where are you guys going? Where are you shooting this at?
we're going to be in Minneapolis with her. So
okay, well, I have a lot of family up there, but I might be in London when you guys shoot that. But it's okay. It's okay. But that's so.
I'll send you videos and pictures. You can,
It's so funny. Pepper Pace has a YouTube channel where she does like all of the Southern food. Have you ever thought about doing a YouTube channel for your food so people can get in there with you, cook it with you, be like cooking with Dahlia?
I never thought about it because, hey, you never know. Maybe one day, when I get a break somewhere in my life, I'll probably do that. I cook and I generally like, dancing around, and I'm like, nobody wants to see my crazy behind dancing around in no kitchen.
Yes, it does. Yes, they do. I told because it's so funny because like I was telling you when you what was it that you guys did recently? Y'all did a laser light party.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I know you, I know Sarge, and I'm like, but there's no you in the video. It's like every time the camera turned toward you,
I was ducking away like, no, y'all ain't getting me in here. This is y'all's laser light party.
No, see, but now if you do, we'll have to keep talking her into this, everybody. Yep. If you do a YouTube channel, you can't hide from the camera.
I can't, and I have to prep and do all my food, and the concept. I think that when I get a more like fancy kitchen, because my kitchen is a mess right now. I've got 5 kids at home, and my kitchen is a mess. So when I get my dream kitchen, because I have my dream kitchen in my head, and I have like these 2 ovens and this granite kitchen island, and when I get my fantasy kitchen, I might do it. I just might.
I love that. I mean, I just think my brother is the cook between he and I, and I keep threatening that I'm gonna like shoot some video, shoulder one day, and just be like, hey, cooking with my brother. But my mother used to love to cook, and she was really great at like desserts. Like everybody in my family
love dessert.
Get their orders in for desserts, right? And then my mom would cook them, but I've never, unless I'm cooking for a lot of people, like I would bring my family over for brunch and stuff, and I would like research recipes and cook all this great stuff. It was like because I love the fellowship and the community.
It is. I like people. I will make big dinners and everyone will eat and I won't eat a thing. And they're like, why are you eating? I'll eat later in
Yeah.
bed, no pants on. Right about now, I'm enjoying watching you guys enjoy, and that's
And
how I am.
because I'm not even one of those people who like I don't sample or eat everything as I'm cooking, but
Hmm.
I do sample some of it, and like the way it smells and everything else.
Yep.
But usually I'm so like, oh, I don't want to burn it. I don't want this. I don't want that. I want it to be just right because I want the presentation to be, like when I put it
Perfect.
out, yeah,
Yep.
all golden and I want people to be
That's
like,
me and my lobster ceviche. That lobster ceviche was like, this has to be perfect, or I'm throwing the whole thing out.
oh man, see, I'm like that with quiche. Like whenever I
Right?
make a quiche, because I just like quiche to me should have like this certain golden
Mm-hmm.
prettiness about it, right?
Yep.
So and then I want the stuff like I want you to see the scallions, I want you to see, the spinach. It's just like a little bit of so if
The
it doesn't
feta cheese on top, making that nice golden crumble. Now you're
look
making
like
me
this,
hungry.
then I'm just gonna stick it in the refrigerator and make that one mine and redo it if it doesn't look like that, so that
Exactly.
so. Well, that's great to know. I'm so happy that you're gonna be doing that too. So we got all this to look forward to.
All that, and eventually I sleep somewhere in there.
Look, sleep is overrated.
It
So
is.
So before we close this bad boy out, I want to circle back to the books that I talked about or mentioned at
Okay.
the top of this. Tell us a little bit about those. I know we've talked in general about like military and whatnot, but the trilogy, Ophelia's Embrace. Tell us a little bit about those two, and so that people can get to know some of your specific works.
Okay. Well, Ophelia's Embrace is set in Canada in 1899. It's a historical, and I took the historical and I made it fiction because I wanted things to work a certain way. And one of the things that when my research I found out was that in Canada and in France, Black women had more of a presence and they were more free to be who they are and they weren't in a slave master mindset. So I made my heroine a teacher and I set her up with a Scottish laird that basically moved to this town and started a shipping company. So it was the intricacies of him and his business, her feeling like, okay, all the pretty girls of the, town was running after him, but he chose her and they ended up, having a child together, the usual evil bad guy that wants to take the shipping industry and, basically shame her. And I had a lot of fun with that because of it, there's going to be another book called Ronan's Redemption, which is going to be set in Ireland now. And my Not Just Royal trilogy is like a fan favorite because it's three best friends. Um, one's a lord, one's the duke, and then their best friend. He's just basically a good guy that got into some trouble, but changed his life around. It's set in Northumberland, England, and I made Northumberland. It's a massive town, but in my stories, I made it into this quaint little place where everyone knows everyone. And the last book you would like is called The Bride of Mackenzie Mack, and that is set in Christmas in Northumberland, and it has everything from the chili festivals to the hot cross buns. And I love making hot cross buns, just letting you know.
I've never made a hot cross bun, so next time I'm in your neck
Next
of the
time.
woods.
Yes.
But
I'm gonna have to show you.
yeah, I love Christmas stories. It's like I haven't written one in a while, but I always love that little bit of holiday magic.
Hmm.
That little bit
I
of,
love that magic.
and it like I don't know, it's like a happy place for you.
Hmm.
I love that. So I don't know, maybe this year we'll
You
see.
should do it.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
gonna hold you to that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
put it up on your page, like Angela said. She's gonna, and side-eyed you all the time.
we'll see where that goes.
You're going to be in London. You can write the best. Come on.
I can't wait to tell that story because that's like one of the things that I really want to do is, because like I said, a part of my whole YouTube channel is to talk about Black women
Yeah.
travel you know, that whole life of a nomad who like kind of packs your bags and, you know,
Go. Yep.
You know, that's one of the things that I tell people all the time is just the more I travel, the more I want to tell the story of, because I think so often, you know, Black women, they see their love, they see so many things through like that limited lens of the Black American experience. But when you do see things, you know, through that global perspective, that global lens, you see that it's not so far-fetched. Like I was talking with somebody recently, you know, like just about online dating and stuff like that, and how when you get older,
yeah,
if you are a woman of color, online
yep.
might not necessarily be the best platform for you.
Nope. No, it's not.
Checking for you on that. But then
Yep.
you get out of the country. I mean, I went to Paris and I was on an online dating app, and I was like, well, oh wait. Well, let's chat about this. You know, because
completely different mindset.
Yes, it was a completely different mindset. You know, and I think that, you know, I think that it's an unfortunate thing that a lot of Black women need to see themselves, Black American women need to see themselves through that lens so that we can be reminded
that we're beautiful and we're vital at 40 plus.
Exactly, you know? So, you know, I love that. So I can't wait until I'm actually living there, living abroad, and being able to tell the story so that people can see it from a different perspective. I'm so excited.
Perfect Christmas story coming up.
Yes. Something is gonna be. It's gonna be some sort of a Christmas story. We're gonna see. All right, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you. You know, it's like every time I talk to people about having a tribe, I don't know if they really understand what I mean, but you know, I hope that they do, and I hope that they have their own tribe that they've managed to find.
Definitely.
But you know, to be able to reach out to a member of my tribe and say, hey, can you come and hang out with me?
Thank you very much. You know, I'll say yes to anything you tell me to. You say, come go to London with me. I'm like, come on.
He made me an alien lamp. I don't have it with me. It's in storage. But bragging about a lamp, you were bragging about a lamp that you made for yourself. And I was like, wait, the rest of us, you know.
I made you a lamp.
And she made me a lamp. But, you know, that's I think that's the power of connection.
Yep.
You know? And, you know, just caring about the next human and supporting the next human. And I wanted a lamp. So
watch it now. I'm gonna send you a lamp to London too.
Look, I'm taking my lamp. You know, I have some stuff that I put into storage, but I was like, as soon as I get settled and I know exactly where everything's gonna be and what's gonna happen.
Yep. You're gonna send for your stuff.
Yeah, I gotta get the rest of my stuff because that's what makes it feel like
home. Yep.
Yeah. So I cannot wait. But so everybody out there in podcast land and YouTube land, I hope that you guys will reach out and find out more about my friend Dahlia. I hope that you guys found this conversation interesting. And if you are not familiar with any of her work, I hope that you will reach out and find her. Dahlia, tell them the quickest place or the best place where they can reach out and find you on social media.
Well, the best place is to find me at Dahlia Rose on Facebook or on Twitter, Dahlia Rose 1029. Or if you want to find my website, it's www.dahliaRoseUnscripted.com.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation.